You've likely heard about Eddie and Andrea Gallagher. They have a new book coming out June 29th that tells about their fight for freedom. This is a crazy story. The book is called The Man in the Arena: From Fighting ISIS to Fighting for My Freedom. It's an intense story. And I've spoken with Eddie on my radio show prior, but I also wanted to have Andrea on with Eddie because his wife really was a shield maiden in leading the fight to exonerate him and clear his name. And they both join us now. Thank you guys so much, and congratulations on the book. It's good to see you. Just to get right into it, and tell me, you just stop me if you think that I have this, I'm giving you my perspective, a 30-second a pitch to everybody out there of what exactly happened with this story. So we've been talking, for the past several months about wokery in the military, wokeism, and this idea that we need to have a super kittens and sunshine, friendly, happy, let's be nice to everybody military, because that's what's going to keep America safe. And ultimately, that's really what played into this story here. Eddie Gallagher, Andrea, your husband, Eddie, serving overseas, the battle for Mosul, and you had some, greenhorns, for the lack of a better way to put it, who just, were used to more, everybody gets a trophy, a participation trophy, just for showing up. They didn't really like, your hard as nails, tough approach to getting the job done, so they try to frame you for something that you didn't do. And even in the courtroom, someone was admitting there under oath that they actually were guilty of what you were being accused of. Does that sum it up?
Pretty much, yeah. That's a quick summation of, for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's like I said, it's good to see you both. Eddie, this book, so when I first heard of your all's story, we have a mutual friend, Melanie Luttrell, and Melanie was posting, there was a picture of her and Leslie Luttrell, and then I saw Andrea and all of these really amazing women who are also wives of veterans and active duty standing in a line out in the woods somewhere, and they were there to TCB. They were there to really get it going. And I'm thinking, what in the world is happening? This is serious. I need to figure out what's going on here. And then that's when I learned this was shortly after, Eddie, you were arrested because someone was accusing you of killing an ISIS combatant after the ISIS combatant was trying to kill you and those under your command. And so you were arrested while getting medical treatment and thrown into the brig, and you were there for several months, and Andrea led the charge to let everyone in the country know, no, this is not what happened, we're going to clear it up. Talk to me a little bit about just your first impressions and your first thoughts when all of this happened, because you served your country for so long, so admirably. To be repaid in such a fashion by your government seems to be an insult of the highest order.
Yep. So when all this was first going on, and then when they arrested me and threw me in prison when I was at the TBI clinic, obviously we were blown away that could even happen, that they could just lock me up with no charges, no evidence, just purely on hearsay. But the sad part is, once that process starts happening, you really have no voice. I had no chance to fight back or tell my side of the story. So thank God that, my Andrea here stood up and started an organic grassroots campaign through social media and other avenues, getting the truth out about what was really going on, how my rights were being violated, pretty much everything the Navy was trying to, sweep under the rug and just, put me away, use me as an example, hang me out to dry, and then put me away for the rest of my life. But little do they know that, they were facing Andrea Gallagher, and that's, as the world saw, she's a force to be reckoned with. I knew she was, being married to her, but that's the blessing of it all, that the world got to see what a fierce woman she is. And also, all the other wives, just like you had said, that she was taking pictures with. This fight wasn't just about me. This was more, they were demonizing what we've been doing the past 20 years, which is fighting for this country and trying to defeat evil. And that, when they demonize us, they demonize our spouses, because they're the ones fighting as well. They're staying at home, keeping the home front steady, and just taking care of the kids. So, their service is just as much as ours. So I really think, it not only was she obviously trying to get her husband out of prison and get the truth out there, but she was also a voice for the rest of, the spouses and also the military members, to say, you can't treat, warfighters like this. They deserve due process, and they're, you can't demonize them like this either. These, these guys, and that's how I feel. These guys that have been doing this job the past 20 years, guys that I look up to, this, when came after me, they came after everybody, in our eyes.
Yeah. And throughout all of this, I heard from so many people, and we have a lot of mutual friends, and there were so many who were serving and had served that were not allowed to speak out in your favor, because you had some newbies that decided they were going to try to take out their frustration on you, and ultimately that's what ended up happening. And it went to the point to where, I mean, you were actually terrorized. Your family was terrorized by the United States government because of this. And I read how there was a SWAT team that raided your home. Andrea, you were out working. You're a working mother. You were involved in, you were doing work. You were helping take care of the family. And tell me what happened with this, because I don't think a lot of people realize this until you started talking about it online.
Yeah, ironically, Dana, that was actually 2 years ago, almost to the day. So we've definitely been thinking about that a lot. We wrote extensively about the home raid in our book. All of our children have chapters because we were all in different spheres. So Eddie was basically taken and locked away and trapped in a room. I was out, as you said, at work meetings, and then my sons were at home. And so they basically staged what you can only describe as laying siege to our home where we had lived for 11 years. And they took our boys out at gunpoint. They dragged them into the street in their underwear. And that's what began a 7-hour raid on our home. And that's when we knew that we were up against the full weight of the government. And there was basically nothing they would stop at to terrorize our family. So we do talk about that extensively to give the context about how violating that was for us as a military family.
Yeah, very much so. And the book, Man in the Arena, EddieGallagherBook.com, this was described as mutiny, not murder, Eddie, by your attorney, which I thought was a fantastic way to put it. And for people that maybe, because I was reading, courtroom testimony, and I was also looking at some of the statements that, some of the video and audio statements that you all had posted to Instagram and other parts of social media. But I mean, what gets me is not only were you, physically terrorized, but you also, for instance, I was reading one piece where it said, the lead prosecutor, Navy commander, was apparently reading your all's emails, was able to actually look at private conversations you all were having. It was said that they were looking to see who you were all communicating with. This Navy commander was removed from the case along with 2 other lawyers and remains under investigation for his unprofessional conduct. But all of this happened. I mean, there are charges against you that you somehow killed this ISIS combatant after he was brought back to where y'all were for medical treatment, which, the United States is the only country in the world that would do something like this. Obviously, because of his injuries, he's not going to make it. They're accusing you of killing the guy. You clearly didn't. Their case is falling apart. And then you find out that the prosecutor in the case is actually violating his own professional code, the code of ethics, perhaps the law itself, in trying to really work overtime and framing you for this. Eddie, tell me about that.
Yeah, so basically it's a common theme along with my case that, anybody that got involved that tried to come after me or take these guys that, had these false accusations in my platoon, take their side, were forced to lie themselves, because you can't win a case that's based on lies from the get-go. So in order to win this case, they themselves had to lie as long with other people from my command that got behind these guys. They had to make a choice at some point, either back off and, let this play out and see what happens, or they can go ahead and go forward and continue to persecute me, which is a lot. Unfortunately, a lot of people made that call. It was like, you know what, we're going to let our ego drive us here. We refuse to say that we made a mistake. So we're going to go all in, and we're going to get a win. In order for them to do that, they had to lie, cheat, and steal. And it was really disgusting to watch or to be a part of. But unfortunately, that is what happened. But when you lie, cheat, and steal, in the end, you lose. But we say we won because we had 2 things on our side the whole time. That was God and the truth. And We never changed our story once.
No.
We held our heads high. You know, as scary as it was, we walked into the trial like, here we go. You know, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And we were confident because we had the truth on our side. Unfortunately, you know, the prosecutors, they had to go and do a lot of illegal stuff to try and get a win, and they got caught.